This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life where you live. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. It is Jake, your host, and I know I sound a little amped up today. I've tried to record this a couple times. I am not hopped up on Jumpin' Goat Coffee Roasters coffee, though I was this morning. It was fantastic. This is actually kind of early evening that I'm doing this intro. I've been like this since I found it. I found it. What everybody that is from the Northeast United States, I say Northeast, like north of Virginia, Maryland area. Sorry, nothing against you, Virginia and Maryland. You just don't quite know what everybody else north of you knows, which is fantastic bread products, bakery items, pastries. Oh my gosh. Look, moving down south is awesome for cost of living. It sucks for bread products. It's right now, everybody that's driving in their car that's from the Northeast is nodding their head saying amen, that it is as true as the day is long. There's a lot of things people in the South know how to do well. Pastries, not one of them. I'm sorry. All of the bread manufacturers, the bread stores down here, your chain franchises, I know. You don't know good bread until you have gone up to Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York. So, sorry. That came out way more accurate than I planned on it being. There is a place in Braselton that has the most authentic New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia bread products that I have had since I left outside of Philadelphia when I was 18. Gosh, 20 years. 20 years I have been pining for somewhere in the South that has fantastic bread, pastry, dessert products, and I found it, and I'm excited about it, and I'm going to stay excited about it for a long time. My wife and I had dinner with some friends of ours last night who I knew the husband was from somewhere up north in the Northeast. I thought it was Ohio. Turns out he's from Jersey. So I told him, I said, Don, I found a bakery here in Braselton. I said, the baker is from Hoboken. He about came out of his skin. He slammed the table. Excitement galore. I'm telling you, some of you think I'm a little too off the wall, just hyped up about food, bread products, desserts. I'm not. This is the appropriate level when you know good food and you know good products and you've been without it for 20 years. I found it. It's the Braselton Fine Bakery on Brassy Lane, right next to Jack's local station in downtown Braselton. It is a tiny little shed. They don't do, obviously, the baking there on site. But I'm telling you, strike me dead if I'm lying. It will be the best bread-based products that you have had if you're from down south, it'll be your entire life. You've never had anything like this. I'm sorry. Look, in the South, you do biscuits well, really well, and that's where it ends. And I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. The other thing, as some of you know from listening to the first episode of the podcast, our 2.5-year-old is gluten-free, dairy-free. My wife and I are 90% gluten, dairy-free, which, we were laughing about it when we were recording this episode, which makes the 10% stinking awesome because I make sure my 10% counts. My wife rolls her eyes when I say it's 10%. She's like, it's not 10%. I'm like, yeah, close enough. Round up, round down, whatever it is. They have great gluten-free options. You can't find good gluten-free anything anywhere in the dessert category, and they got it. So you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. If you go in the Facebook, Instagram accounts, you'll see a sandwich that I made on their French baguette. Look, I don't even. Some of y'all just need to turn the dang car around. Just stop wherever you're going is not that important. Turn around, go to Brassy Lane. You'll find it, little white shop. I'm telling you, it's going to change. It's going to change the next meal of your life. You'll be happier. You'll be more energetic. You'll be more positive. your kids will be smarter, all that's Braselton Fine Bakery in Braselton, Georgia. Hands down, lights out. With that as probably the most lengthy intro I've done, we'll get right to it. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. It's Jake, your host, and I'm gonna apologize in advance. Some of you are not going to like me about 6 months from now because you're going to gain a little weight, and that's your own fault. You need to take some personal responsibility. But we are at one of, I think, our area's treasures and hidden gems, and it is one of my favorite food groups, which is dessert. That is the Braselton Fine Bakery right here in Braselton, Georgia. They're right on Brassy Lane. Hop, skip, and a jump from the library, Cotton Calf, right next door to Jack's local station. And it is a building that is very easy to miss, but once you find it, you'll never be the same. My first experience just last week here, as you know, my day job, as I say, is in real estate, so I had a closing right down the road at Parkway Law. Shout out to Tommy Z. He does a great job. Tommy was raving about this place during the closing. What he didn't know was right before the closing, we were going to lunch at local station, and we walked right by the bakery, and there was a sign out that said gluten-free something. And my clients, one of them was gluten-free. My wife and I are mostly gluten-free. So anytime they see that and you connect that with dessert, you have to go in. Once you become gluten-free, it's an obligation now to go into anything that serves desserts because it's so hard to find good gluten-free food, much less anything that's in that realm that is in the dessert family. So we walk in, absolutely incredible. Not a lot of square footage, but I'm telling you, the desserts are absolutely killer. And so we left there, went to lunch, went to the closing, and then came back after the closing and got more stuff. It's one of these things that I have to reevaluate how good my friends are, because I know people that have obviously known this is here before me, and they didn't tell me about it. Today I'm with Brianna Meredith, who is the bakery manager. Brianna, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Are you a Georgia native?
I am.
Okay,
Yep.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up right in Decula.
Right in Decula?
Yep, not too far down the road.
Okay, so you left Decula to Florida?
Yeah, I actually went to Kennesaw State right out of high school.
Okay.
Went there for about a year, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and then kind of something sparked, and I was like, I'm going to go to culinary school.
All right.
Instead of just going to culinary school in Georgia, I'm like, I'm going to make a switch, and I moved down to Florida.
So were you a cook baker before at Kennesaw State? Were you like
No? Going for communications. Just kind of happened. I grew up baking with a passion for it. My grandma kind of got me into it. Then one day somebody kind of just gave me the courage, follow what you love, and I enrolled in culinary school.
So you went down to Florida or Orlando? Is that right?
Yeah, Orlando.
You graduated from culinary school, and then you moved right back? Did you stay down there for a period of time?
Yeah, no, I stayed down there for a little bit. I was managing a cupcake shop down there for 2 years. Then came back up to kind of be with family, and I still stayed with that company, but I was corporate training, kind of all around the U.S., which was pretty cool. Came back up here and then ended up going with a catering company for a little while. Okay.
And then what window opened that you found yourself here?
It's kind of funny because it's a very small town. I sent my resume to the brewery that was opening, like, hey, do you guys going to do desserts? They're like, no, we don't, but we've got somebody who might be interested in a pastry chef. And I was like, okay. Well, that resume got sent to Cotton Calf.
Okay.
Well, then Sergio at the time was, helping Cotton Calf out before this bakery was open. Once the bakery, kind of was in motion, he's like, hey, I have this resume, somebody local. And that's when he called me up.
Cool. When you go back to your childhood, when did you start baking with Grandma?
Since I was little.
Were you the only sous chef for Grandma?
Yeah. I mean, I'd wake up and I'm like, I want to have pancakes this morning, but I don't have any eggs, or I don't have this. I'm like, I've got to come up with a new recipe for, for breakfast this morning. So it's always like, what did Brianna make this morning?
Yeah.
But yeah, since I was like tiny.
Was Grandma a great cook?
Yes, she was.
I say there's only one answer to that.
There is, yes, but now that I know how to do it, she doesn't want to do it anymore. She's like, I've passed that on.
That's right. I'm in retirement.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about the history of the bakery, the location here? We talked about you've got a grand reopening coming up in almost a month. How we got here to this building, which is very easy to miss because it's small, but it's incredible, so you need to know where it is. Share a little bit about how that all came about.
Yeah, we call it our little white house on Brassy Lane.
Yeah.
Because it's little.
Very accurate.
But we've got this building. It was previously another bakery, but way back when it was actually a barbershop. So we got it. We kind of remodeled it a little bit because we wanted to put our own stamp on the building. So we opened this up, redid everything. We opened last October. We have our grand reopening October 17th from 5 to 8. And it's open to the public. So we're going to have food. We're going to have drinks provided by Cotton Calf for people to come check us out. If they've never been here, or if they've been here before, it's a good time for everybody to kind of come out.
Yeah, and if you don't know this bakery and you don't know Cotton Calf, you just need to cancel your plans for whatever that, the 17th, October 17th.
Yep.
Yeah, just cancel all your plans. Just come here. This is going to be better than anything you have planned. So I was reading online your baker Sergio.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't like to be on camera.
Yeah, not on camera, not on the microphone, but he has a pretty incredible story. He came to the U.S. in '89.
Yeah.
Is that right? Real big highs, real big lows, the economy and everything. Kind of went through a lot to be able to get here now. People that are in and around the Braselton, Houston, Jackson County, Hall County area, most people know Cotton Calf now because of the caliber food. This bakery is incredible. On his behalf, can you share a little bit about what that journey's been like?
Yeah, absolutely. So he came here and lived in New York.
Okay.
He actually started at what's now Carlos's Bakery, with not just Cake Boss, but like from his dad. He worked with him.
Wow. The original.
The original.
The OG.
Yeah. And then he went from there, like after 9/11, and he went to Park Pastry in New Jersey, where he worked there for about 10 years. Mm-hmm. Once 9/11 happened, lots of businesses kind of went under, and that's when he moved on to the Balthazar Bakery. Sorry for the New Yorkers if I messed that up. And he worked there in the wholesale division. That's where he really learned the French style of baking.
Mm-hmm.
Then he made his way down here, and that's where he met Matt. And Matt is the owner of Cotton Calf, also an owner of our bakery. And they kind of partnered up to kind of create this vision, what's now Braselton Fine Bakery.
Now, so I've got to tell you, so I grew up outside of Philadelphia. When I first walked in and I looked at the pastries, and then I read his bio, I'm like, I knew it. Yep. I knew he was from New York, New Jersey.
You can tell in the
I'm telling you, I don't look until you have been there and you've had that your whole life and then you've moved somewhere. There's a lot of great food in the South, but there is something unique about New York, New Jersey people, and specifically pastries and desserts that people down here just don't know how to do. And I've said for years being down here, to find really good, like really, really good bread products is so tough. Because speaking out of ignorance, because I don't know how they do it, but when I read that he had been in Hoboken, New Jersey, I was like, I knew it. I knew he was from up there.
Yes.
Because it's incredible. It's really, it takes me back home to some of the bakeries that are, local mom and pop shops that are absolutely out of sight in the New York, New Jersey area. So I know there's a lot of Yankees hiding down here because it's much more cost effective to live. You need to come find this and recharge your nostalgic soul for a minute. So from a perspective of, you're still pretty young. I know I'm not supposed to ask anybody how old they are, but you look young enough that you won't be offended.
No, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm 25.
25, okay. Yeah. Speaking to somebody who's maybe in that high school, college realm, or frankly somebody that is, has kind of had their course run with their first career, wants to do like what you talked about, kind of pursue their passion. Any nugget of wisdom that you would give somebody having done that yourself now and being on the other side?
I would just say to kind of just go for it. There's no shame in this is what you want to do, then following that dream, because it's what you love. If you're going to do what you love for the rest of your life, then you're not working.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy every day. You're not just going to, I have to get up and go to work. You're like, yeah, I get to go do something. I'll come in and I have a really cool cake I get to do today, or a certain order or a wedding. And those sorts of things, they bring so much joy to people, and that's what makes me so happy. Seeing how that affects other people.
That makes for a good life.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the items that you have in the bakery, and we may need to cut this off because we may need to just go get some. You have eclairs, which are incredible. I only got one because I knew I had to share, and I knew I only needed to have half of one because I was also getting a couple other things. But the eclair was amazing. And then the cannoli, best one I have had, like the best I've had in 15 years. like hands down.
Thank you.
So Megan was telling me about some cherry something you have, and she said she is. Yes,
yes.
She said she is not
popular.
she said she's not a cherry person, but it is her go-to, which says a lot. So tell us about some of the things that you've got in the bakery.
We're really well known for our croissants. We've got, butter croissants, almond, chocolate, and then one we've kind of created as a pretzel croissant.
Ooh.
Which a lot of people are like, what is that? It's basically just, a butter croissant that we dip just like a pretzel, so it's got both unique flavors together. It's amazing. We've got baguettes. We've got sourdough baguettes, French baguettes. We do loaves. We've got all sorts of dessert bars, individual cheesecakes. We actually do our own sandwiches and salads now. So the sandwiches are on our breads that we make.
Ooh.
They're all pre-made, so they're ready to go, grab for lunch. A couple different salad options. We've got danishes. We've got large cookies. We've got, like you said earlier, some gluten-free options for everybody, and gluten-free dessert, which is so hard to find.
It's so hard to find. The breads are like I knew. I'm just telling you, like I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but I knew when I saw the breads, I'm like, those don't belong here. Like this is not. I know what those breads are, but they don't look. They're not supposed to be, south of Virginia. For all of you who are missing that Northeast bread bakery dessert, this is going to be your new watering hole, so to speak. So I also saw something that you have in there. So you have a like a to-go cooler of sorts, where people can order online and they can just come pick up things that have been paid for. They don't necessarily have to wait in line if there is a line. Talk a little bit about that. So for people who are kind of on the go, maybe working around here, they want to order a sandwich for lunch and just kind of pick it up. Share a little bit about that just from a convenience perspective.
Yeah, we try to make it as easy as possible. So we actually have a few different ways you can order. You can order through an app we have, which is just Braselton Fine Bakery in the App Store. And that allows you to do same-day pickup. So you can order on that. We'll get it ready for you, have it ready to go. It's already paid for when you come in. You can order through our website. That's 24 hours in advance. So same concept, but, it would be, instead of the same day, it'd be for the next day or in the future. And then if you're even just like craving something now, we're partnered with DoorDash.
Okay.
So DoorDash is, you order through their app, they come and pick it up, and then they'll bring it to you. But there's also an option where you could order through DoorDash and pick it up yourself if you want.
Okay. That's fantastic. Catering options. Please tell me you cater.
We do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things you do as far as catering, scope, menu options? How far in advance does somebody need to do that if they're doing something for their business, Employee Appreciation Day, or just, maybe a graduation or something like that?
Yeah, if it's around our typical menu items, we would just need a couple days for a platter. We can cater whether you want, for your office, for your school, for a football game. We can kind of do it all. We can do sandwich platters. We can do dessert platters, do pastry platters, a little bit of everything, which we like to call kind of a sampler platter. And it's all just going to be kind of based on how many people you need to feed. Mm-hmm. So you just kind of reach out to us, let us know what you're looking to get, how many people, and when you would need it. And then we can kind of go from there. Okay.
Do you have any best memories, best stories, things you think about, just kind of your favorite experience or memory from being here so far?
It's really fun to do the events in Braselton because Braselton's very much a small community feel. Mm-hmm. They're always doing something, getting all of the local businesses involved. And when we go to the events, we have people come over and like, hey, like they recognize us. We've got our regulars. We know them by name. They know us by name. And so just, having that feel of, it's almost like a family with this town.
And when your family makes dessert like this, you have a good family.
You've got a good connection.
You've got a good place to be. Spent most of your life in and around this area. Any local treasures that you like to go to?
Well, I have to say, if we're going out for a nice dinner, definitely going to be Concaf Kitchen, which is basically across the street from us. In my hometown, I live down the street in Winder. Okay. There's Casey's. Kind of like a hole in a wall, but it is amazing.
What kind of food?
It's like American food, hamburgers, chicken tenders, but the chicken salad and pita, that is my go-to.
Ooh, pita.
That's my go-to.
Nobody has pitas anymore.
Oh, it's delicious. And the chicken salad is just smoked chicken and some mayonnaise, and that's it.
Wow.
That's all you need.
That sounds good. So I'll digress for a minute. My one pita story that I have in life, when I was, I think, a sophomore at Clemson, we had a management class that the guys who owned the local Wendy's franchises came in and talked to our class for a day. And when we were leaving class, I was walking out with them, and I said, I got to ask you, Wendy's used to have these pitas on the menu. And I said, and then one day I pull up to the drive-thru window, and they told me they're gone. And I said, look, I said, I had like 2 or 3 of those a week. And he goes, really? He said, because we only sold like 10 a week.
Keep them in business.
I was like, you mean I was a third of your business? I was like, you should have pushed that more. I was like, they were amazing. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to eat anymore because they were, relatively healthy and they were filling. I still remember pulling up to the drive-thru and hearing her tell me that the pitas were gone. I'm like, what do you mean gone?
The heartbreak.
Yeah.
I know the feeling. We at the bakery, we're always rotating different desserts, and if we switch one out and somebody hasn't realized, you can just see the devastation. We're like, we'll have it back. We're just trying something new.
So let's address that so we mitigate heartbreak. How often do you rotate your offerings? Do you keep some things staples? They're always there all the time, and do you ever create new things that you've not had here before?
Yeah, so since we are such a small bakery, we're kind of ever changing. So we're always listening to the customers' feedback, what they want, what they like, what they might not have liked as much. So we just kind of switch things out. If we bring a new item in, we're not just going to take something away right away. Mm-hmm. We're going to give it a little bit of time to see how people are reacting to it. So there's no set schedule on, this is going to be here for 2 weeks. Every time we get something new, we usually post it on Facebook or Instagram. That's kind of how we stay in touch with our customers, let them know what's going on, what new things we've got.
Do you have fall menu options that will be coming up I think we can almost finally declare we're in fall, even though I saw 90 degrees somewhere on the 10-day forecast. It's been amazing the last 24 hours here. Any fall creations that you can throw out as teasers?
We're definitely going to have some pumpkin items. Mm-hmm. We've got possibly some pumpkin scones and some pumpkin cheesecakes and or bars. We're not sure yet. Figure out which one's the best. And then we're going to have, for Thanksgiving, we're going to have some pies available. Still narrowing down that menu because there's so many options.
So I'll share with you, almost nobody outside of my immediate family knows this. So pies is one thing I do really well. I just made one of the best pies of my life. Blueberry peach.
That sounds good.
Amazing.
That sounds really good.
Everybody kind of gives me the same look when I tell them. They're like, blueberry and peach. I'm like, you don't understand. It's like they're two long-lost lovers that got together in a pie at 400 degrees. It's so good.
There's always just random combinations that you put them together and it's just unbeatable.
Yeah, and when it's pie, you really can't go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It's pie.
It's like if it's terrible, just throw some vanilla ice cream on it. Yeah. You'll call it a day. What's your favorite thing on the menu?
That's a tough question.
It is a tough question because everything's amazing. So I have to ask you because I don't know. What like that
is
row.
My favorite?
I like that row of things, and then the row of things below it. I'm like
those. Which food category are we talking about?
All of them.
My favorites would probably be, I love our chicken salad on our pretzel croissants. Those two go so well together. And then if we're talking about desserts, I would probably say we actually have a new red velvet Reese's bar.
What are you talking about, Willis?
So it's like a red velvet crust, and then it's got a really creamy peanut butter filling, and then we toss it with some chopped Reese's on top.
That's it. We're done. Shut
We're
it down.
Go find us in the bakery.
Shut it down. The store is closed. Like, I just feel like my knees got knocked out from underneath me.
We should have brought some snacks for this.
Yeah. What would you like to see over the next, let's say, 5 years? You've been here for
almost a year.
A year?
Yeah.
The next 5 years, if you had to write, best case scenario, what's the next 5 years look like for you in the bakery?
I would really like to see us, so since we are such a small building right now, I'd like to see us get into a larger space. Right now we've got an off-site kitchen. Mm-hmm. We're actually using an old primary school that's right up the road. We've got their entire kitchen.
That's nice.
It's been really nice.
Yeah.
But having an off-site kitchen is still, brings its challenges. So we'd like to grow into a larger space, get everybody kind of in one spot, and definitely, grow our following, grow just as a business with our products. We're ever-changing. We have so many items we want to do, and we want to bring them all to you. It's just over time.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, I want to get to something I call the lightning round, which is a question that has nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
It's just a fun question. Everybody says uh-oh when I say that. Like, I don't have Steve Harvey as my guest. We're not going to be doing any countdown on the feud. Okay, scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being very disappointed. How disappointed are you when the song Under Pressure by Queen comes on when you thought it was Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby?
Ooh. 7?
Oh, I'm on 11.
I like both songs, so I can't be too mad.
Yeah, I don't mind the if I come across the song while it's already playing, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
When I think it's Ice Ice Baby from the beginning, I'm crushed.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the situation. I'm probably going to dance at both, so.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so Braselton Fine Bakery,
yep.
Is that where they find you on Facebook?
Yep, on Facebook and on Instagram, just
okay.
Braselton Fine Bakery.
And the website again?
BraseltonFineBakery.com.
And the app you were talking about?
Braselton Fine Bakery in the App Store.
There you go. I love that there's an app. That makes it so easy because, let's be honest, we all like things that are easy, and we all like pies and cakes and muffins and cookies and breads. We all like that stuff, so what could be easier? 21st century, real life coming to you. With that, we're going to wrap up. I'm going to go inside, and I hope that you'll come check them out. We are right at the main intersection in Braselton on Brassy Lane. Great idea. Take your kids over to the library, drop them off with a book, walk over here, get something to eat, go back. They don't have to know that you ever were here, and you don't have to buy them anything, but you could. You should. You're a good parent. So, Brianna, thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye. Thank you.
This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life where you live.